Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. So glad you're with us to stay curious here today in the Stay Curious Studios in our museum in downtown Titusville with Marty Winkle, my co producer. We've done about 1,230 of these episodes, and uh, they're always very interesting, each and every one of them. And today I'm immersed in a lot of duties to pull off our sixth space memorabilia show uh, this weekend, tomorrow at Beachside Hotel right on Cocoa Beach beside Ron John. So if you're local, please get over and check us out because we're going to have uh, just you can buy anything there. Marty's going to have actual Kapton foil on there. And I was looking around there. If you wanted to put that behind me, Marty, that's fine. But we're fussing around with a lot of stuff because I've been jumping around. I washed this shirt that I wore yesterday. I'll have you all know because I love my Mercury astronauts and still thinking about John Glenn Day yesterday. But and behind us, we've got Endeavor on the pad on a beautiful sunset. Maybe that's Mark Usiak or a photograph, not sure. But we're going to pretend it's Endeavor because we're going to end our show today with an update of what's going on with Endeavor out there at the California Science Museum. And our good friend Doug Forrest sent me a packet of pictures that he's harvested, and maybe a couple he took on his own, of how that reno of Endeavor's going on at the Los Angeles California Science Museum there. So, but we're going to talk about a little bit of everything today, Marty. If I told you the moon is 23 years old, 23 days old today, would you know how to think like an astronomer and know what it looked like in the sky? 23 days old moon.
I definitely could.
What's it going to look like?
The almost, the almost crescent, the crescent.
Absolutely. But when would you see it?
Now I don't know.
Before sunrise. Because it is the days 1 to 7 days old till first quarter. It's in the evening sky. And when I say 23 days old, you're talking like an amateur astronomer. And you know, I can stargaze at the biolab this weekend because there's no moonlight to interrupt me photographing the Orion Nebula, or maybe I can even get the Horsehead Nebula in there. Uh, so we'll talk a lot about lot of stuff. Marty, this is the wrong rack of slides. This is yeah, these are not today's show. So tell you what, we're going to bust out of this. This is last year's show.
Well, I'll change it. Just keep
So
talking.
Marty's going to change it there. So while we're doing that, I'm going to talk about some headline news that we threw in there. Yeah, this is 2024, and I put 2025 on it, Marty. Okay. There's the twins there, okay? And we're going to talk about them. That's Bagian. There's Charlie Walker and Marty here at the American Space Museum. So he's going to rack up the other pictures there. And while he's talking about that, the first slide is Go History Travel, Marty. And it's under February 21st, 2025, which is our date today. A lot of headlines making news about layoffs. So let me talk about layoffs while Marty loads up the today's show there. And like I said, 1,200 some shows. This is the first time we've made this mistake. And I'll take my blame for it because I didn't walk over and tell him specifically. But I didn't print out. You would have known it if I had this printed out, Marty, our script there. What about all these layoffs? NASA's going to lay off some people. There we are. Thank you, Marty. They're going to lay off some people. Some people are taking early release. We've got Blue Origin has laid off a bunch of people. What is up with all that? And I'm going to tell you from the local standpoint, from the newspaper, what that's all about. We do want to thank the Ramanujan family. They have been very generous in supporting Stay Curious and our Shuttle Fest, big contributors to help us bring 4 astronauts to Shuttle Fest. Go check out their gohistorytravel.org. It's very interesting how they take an attitude, and son Bharat particularly, going to these places around the world, space related and other things related. So thank you, Ramanujams, for your generous financial contribution. We got our space memorabilia show this weekend, tomorrow, just for one day. Free admission, free appraisals. Okay, that's the big thing we want people to come in for. And if they think they have a real Neil Armstrong, let's check it out. And with a couple experts will be there. Chuck Jeffrey, who is tutored by Ken Havicott. And our Shuttle Fest 4, we're going to be hitting it hard after we get through with our memorabilia show. We are going to have an event Friday night at the American Space Museum. That's going to be killer. It'll be epic, because the only astronaut I've not confirmed is going to be here Friday is John Grunsfeld, and he's one I'm pretty sure will be here. Joe Tanner will be here, Eileen Collins and Don Thomas, and we're going to celebrate the life of Joanne Morgan, who's a Titusville native. She'll be here. She's the first female in the launch control of a Saturn V launch on Apollo 11, Joanne Morgan. So $90, and the hotel's got a fabulous rate there. Marty, you gonna say something?
Yeah, move the mic closer.
All right, move the mic
Or
closer.
you get closer.
Yeah, let me move closer here. Let me have another cup of rocket fuel there. At least that's what it says on this side. That's a popular mug in a lot of places. We need to sell that. And if you don't think we attract some astronauts at Shuttle Fest, here is Shuttle Fest 1. Okay, thank you, Roger Scruggs. This is a composite Roger put together. Tim Gagnon, who created our shuttle shield. Okay, we call this image here on the upper left the shield. Tim, awesome job doing that. Hope to see you tomorrow. That's Story Musgrave. That's the late Hugh Harris. You've got the late Lee Solid sitting there at the microphone, the rocket guy over all the engines of the Saturn V. Astronaut Mike McCulley, and well-beloved leader of the United Space Alliance. Nicole Stott and Winston Scott. And stand beside Winston is Bob Seek, who launched 51 shuttles, and he always says all of them landed. And Dean Schaff, who was a ground operations manager on the transoceanic abort landing sites in Spain and North Africa. This is a thank you, Roger, for that composite. Just to give you an idea of how this thing is just beautiful. Story Musgrave, I have confirmed, will not be there. He's in Hollywood that weekend. He told somebody that relays to me that he's disappointed he can't make it, but we'll get you at another one, Story. So a little bit of stargazing stuff going on here. It's the weekend and there's no moon out, so this is a good time to go out and see a lot of stars, even from your light polluted backyard. But there I said the moon's 23 days old, so it's gone from the first quarter phase to a big crescent there on the left, and you'll see it, you early morning risers that walk or get the dog out earlier. We'll definitely see that crescent moon in the morning sky. And wanted to remind you that when you look to the west, you can't help but seeing Venus. You're not going to see Saturn anymore, and Neptune is too faint to be seen, even with some telescopes. You need a pretty good telescope to see Neptune. The last planet, or eighth planet, Pluto, is the dwarf planet. Of course, there'll always be a planet in my mind. Saturn is low to the horizon, setting, so it's going to be gone. But Jupiter's directly overhead, and Mars is the nice red star in the east. And there's two stars to the left of it. Those are the brothers of Casper and Pollux of Gemini in there. Yeah, Marty, go ahead.
Dean Babcock is asking, what is the hotel rate and who should we speak with at the hotel?
Dean, the hotel rate is very cheap. Uh, I will put the link up. There's a hotel link to it, all right, and you have to copy the link. Dean, if you send me your email, I think I've got your email. I'll send you the direct link. You want to copy that link. You go up to the hotel, and that takes you to the hotel website, and you go up to the right and click room or whatever it says up there. Embedded in that copied link is the code for Shuttlefest. You'll even see at the end SF4. But you got to copy the whole link to put it in there. If you do, then you see the calendar. You pick the bedroom you need, and the dates. Once you pick the dates, you'll see $139, Dean. $139. These hotels right now today are going for $339, Marty. I was on Cocoa Beach yesterday. There's hotels going for $400 that aren't on the other side of the A1A, away from the beach. So it's spring break, baby, and the rates are high. And I think there's still a lot of good inflation going on, but they're also recouping some money that they lost during Hurricane Milton last year too, that shut down some of the hotels on Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral. Thanks for the question, Dean. You get me that email, or I'll tell you what, I'll go on Facebook and message it to you. But MarQ at AmericanSpaceMuseum.org will get you to me. And Doug Forrest is there. Thank you for the pictures, Doug. Think you all get an idea. You go outside, Jupiter's directly overhead. Wow. Well, if you're depending where you live, it's going to be looking to the south, and then Mars is to the left, and brilliant Venus is to the right. And if you look at Venus, maybe even through binoculars, you'll start seeing it going through a phase. All right, I'll show you some pictures here soon that I'm going to be taking. Yeah, 139 is an unbelievable rate, and Dean, and 239 would be a good rate right now. So, but there's a limited number of those rooms available, and Dana said that she would have to go up a little bit more for shuttle festers. So get it in there. Here is Orion rising over a familiar scene to you northerners, snow and pine trees and such. You notice Orion is so easy to see. Its belt is the belt of the hunter, Orion. Betelgeuse is the red star that makes up his shoulder. Saph is the other bright star that makes up the shoulder. And then the two knee stars, the bright one is Rigel, and the other one is Bellatrix. Betelgeuse, here's what I find interesting, Marty. Orion is a Roman bastardized Greek hero. Okay, so he's the Roman hero Orion, the hunter. The stars are, a lot of the stars have Arabic names. Okay, and the stars that don't have names are given a Greek alphabet number. So Betelgeuse in Arabic means armpit of the giant, literally. So go out and see the armpit of the giant. When I do a talk, I use this slide because Betelgeuse is going to blow up one day, Marty. We know it could blow up tonight. So you always want to look up there and see if it's a lot brighter. It actually dimmed 2 years ago and set the astronomy community waiting to see that it was going to, before it dimmed, it was going to blow up. It's a gigantic star at the end of its life, and we know about star life cycles, and this one's going to blow up someday. It's already would swallow the Earth. It's so huge if it was put where the sun was. So Betelgeuse, destined to become a supernova someday, and I hope I live to see it. It'll be bright, so bright you'll see it in the daylight. And here's some details of those stars of Orion. Okay. Yeah, Bellatrix is at the top, and Saph is the other one at the bottom. I got those two mixed up. Fairly close, the bright ones are. All right, though Saph is 1,300 light years away. If we switched out Saph there to left knee with Betelgeuse, Saph would be seen in the daylight because at that close. Let's look at some NASA headlines, okay? Hundreds of NASA employees signed up for President Donald Trump's deferred resignation offer earlier this month, and now the agency that employs under 18 thousand people is looking to lay off maybe up to 1,000 of them. Okay. Um, NASA losses, and then Blue Origin announced this week 10% of its 14,000 employees would be laid off. All right, that's 1,400 people. And then Boeing is going to lay off about 400 jobs in April on the space launch system of the Artemis program. All right. And our local politician, Mike Herodopoulos, who's a Republican from Indian Harbor Beach district there, said this in today's paper, quote, "We are in a race with the Chinese Communist Party to return astronauts to the lunar surface for the first time in over 50 years. The Artemis program is our ticket to the moon and a critical step forward towards Mars," said U.S. Rep. Mike Herodopoulos. "Winning this race carries immense national security implications." Hear that? National security implications, not national pride implications. "And NASA needs all hands on deck to ensure Artemis 2 launches successfully in early 2026, said Herodopoulos, who chairs the House Subcommittee on Space and Aeronautics. All right. So this is all in the face of a new administration taking over. We're waiting for a NASA administrator to be confirmed. Jared Isaacman, who's a billionaire. He's also been to space twice. And he's also supporting Elon Musk. So not at all being political, but behind all this, you've got Elon Musk as the CEO and founder of SpaceX, and he's involved with this thing called DOGE, D-O-G-E, which is to reduce the government spending in all areas, which as a taxpayer, I'm all for that. I frankly think there's been too many people sitting around making a lot of money at NASA that don't have a deadline in front of them or an urgency to get this done before the weekend, because there's no urgency that we're going anywhere on a firm deadline like we did with Apollo. So this is some of the quotes being said out there, bandied about, but the layoffs at NASA and even at Blue Origin, that amount of people leaving, you can always bring people back. All right. So if they are needed, then, they will bring people back. Okay. But in Blue Origin's case, they're quoted in today's newspaper as saying from their CEO, David Limp, that the company's swift growth in recent years spawned more bureaucracy and less focus than we needed. So the company's quick growth, more bureaucracy, Marty, and less focus than we needed. Okay. They needed more focus and less bureaucracy. And that's sort of what trimming the fat's all about, is taking care of business in a economic way. And we need more engineers at the top tiers of these companies, in my personal opinion, and less MBA leaders that look harder at the dollars. And you can't save a lot of money when you're putting human beings in a spaceship and going around the Earth or going to moon, for gosh sake. So that's sort of the climate going on in today's headline news today, and you have it in your paper. Maybe it's not on the front page like it is here, because this affects everything down the line, from grocery stores to gas stations and whatnot. So missing 1,400 jobs from Blue Origin that are living here, Marty, and another 600 or so from NASA. That's 2,000 people. That's a small community there that's not going to have the money they were having to do things on there. So we've got Yippee-ki-yay on there. Well, yippee-ki-yay to you. It's Friday, okay? So Yippee says that the employees will go to the Space Force. Well, you got to be in the military to be part of the Space Force. So we'll see how all that works out. But thank you all for letting me catch up with you with a little news there. Happy birthday! And if you've been in any social media, you probably know everybody's ballyhooing. Wait, oh, I got the birthday in the wrong place. Huh. So we're going to hold up on the birthday there. The Kelly twins are 61 years old today, and they weren't even born when John Glenn orbited the Earth 63 years ago. And that is the Mercury NASA symbol. Not, it looks like something the rock star Prince adopted at one time. But no, there it is out at our Spaceview Park. Those bricks are have names on them of space workers that gave us $100 to help build this park, and then around it are the handprints of the Mercury astronauts, all except for, of course, Gus Grissom. And we've done some shows out there. Time to reprise that and do a more detailed look at that. Well, there is John Glenn's launch. That is not John Glenn's launch, okay? Let me correct that, though it looks like it. This is Mercury Atlas II, an uncrewed test flight of the Mercury program using the Atlas rocket, launched on February 21st, 1961. Okay, at a little bit in the afternoon from Launch Complex 14. All right, this was a big deal because Mercury Atlas 1 didn't have such a good day. We'll talk about that in a minute. And John Glenn flew Mercury Atlas 6, MA6. So this was the second of 5 test flights to make sure that a human could get on this rocket. And then when John Glenn orbited February 20th, 1962, all right, they blew one up in April, and then before the eyes of Scott Carpenter, who got on an Atlas then in May, I think, to orbit the Earth 3 times like Glenn did. So this is uncrewed. Its test ability were to withstand re-entry under the critical conditions. But the big deal was when they did Atlas 1 in Mercury Atlas 1 on July 29th, 1960, okay, 7 months earlier, it blew up. All right. And this is what they found in the ocean when they salvaged it, was MA1 destroyed because of an anomaly that happened. There were some mixed reactions that it wasn't part of the Atlas rocket, that it was part of the stress on the connecting interface between the Mercury and the Atlas. Okay. It functioned normally up to 58 seconds. Okay. And 1 second later, it blew up. It wasn't carrying any telemetry probes. And they only got like 50 measurements out of this flight. The spacecraft buckled due to combined drag, acceleration, and bending loads which resisted the tensile strength in the skin provided by the internal pressure. They called the problem of mating the Mercury capsule to the Atlas was far from being properly solved at the time of MA1. And though, so what it basically happened was that at maximum Q, okay, all the stresses on there buckled the Atlas up at the top where it was connected to the Mercury, and the Mercury just ripped right through it, all right, and blew it up. Now, one thing that I learned early on, and we love talking about the Atlas, let's put it that way. I should have put a slide of our Cape Canaveral gallery in there, because we have recreated pad 36 or 14 with so much instrumentation. We've had that on the show before, but the rocket is held together by pressure inside like a balloon. The skin is so thin it would collapse on itself by its own weight. So that is part of what the pressure was here. Wasn't enough to sustain the loads, and so they kept improving it. So The Atlas on Atlas II lifted into a clear blue February sky, quite different from the cloudy, foggy weather of the MA-1 flight. Everyone in the blockhouse waited nervously for the vehicle to pass through the critical maximum maximum pressure zone. When it did so successfully, there was enormous jubilation from the launch team. It flew a suborbital mission that lasted 17 minutes. All test objects were fully met. They noticed some propellant slosh in there that they cured down the road with baffles. And so that was the Mercury capsule used for this is on display at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Houston, Texas. So that's a bit of history there. And this is on display in the Cosmosphere in Kansas. Seen it a couple times I've been there. But we own the hatch. The hatch that blew off of MA-1 is on the wall behind me here to the left on there, and made of titanium. There's a big story behind this July 29th, 1961 launch, where this actually washed up ashore. It ended up in a scrapyard, and a NASA worker named Hummel, who was familiar with the vehicle himself as a welder, looking for yard art to weld, bought it for next to nothing, and years later donated it to American Space Museum. We love that piece in there. So, and Carlton Bailey's on there saying that, yep, he'll be there to sell you some stuff at the memorabilia show there. So, what we talked yesterday with two other guests, Gary Algier was here, and our ESA Eurocom, Alex Carl, bopped in for a few minutes on Stay Curious. So go back and watch yesterday's program where we talked a lot about John Glenn's mission. And I love this picture, Marty. That shows the mirror, the concave mirror. You see the technician in it there. And then look at the hands have mirrors on them. And there's a technician in each one of his mirrors there. Got one guy's right there and another one on the other end there. These mirrors were so that he could see the toggles up above him, maybe even look out the, because he was so strapped in, he could barely turn his head, and he certainly couldn't look up like that in there. 3 orbits by John Glenn on February 20th, 1962, and people were going crazy about America's spaceman 63 years ago on this date. And I just thought I'd throw in there Jeff Bezos with his engineer there that I quoted in that layoff story. Dave Limp, CEO Dave Limp, looking at the new Glenn rocket that was successfully launched, all right, about a month ago now. And they're trying to gear up to launch one in May in there. So, and hello, Chris Callie. How you doing, Chris? Good to see you today. Hope you're warming up there and staying curious. Well, let's get our birthday boys up there. Don't know who's left and who's right. Oh, yeah, we do. Usually, I think usually Scott had the mustache. Or what was it, Mark? Oh, my gosh. I get so confused. Twin brothers, Scott and Mark Kelly, were born in Orange, New Jersey on February 21st, 1964, to parents who both worked as police officers. Scott has 528 days in space and 3 spacewalks on 4 missions, while brother Mark, the incumbent U.S. Senator from Arizona, has 54 days in space on 4 shuttle missions, and he was a commander, and he was a pilot and a commander on those missions. So while both chose Navy careers, here's their cute little picture there of growing up together. Had to have had a lot of, look at that creamsicle outfit there. That was they're born in 1964. That's a throwback to the 50s even in there. So there they are in Orange, New Jersey. All right. And let's see. Navy men joined as pilots in 1966. They were both part of the largest astronaut class called the Sardines. All right. Kelly was twice a pilot, STS-108 Endeavour and 121 Discovery. and he commanded Discovery on 124 and 134, Discovery's final flight. All right. And Kelly is married to then Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who survived an assassination attempt in there. So, yeah, I got it backwards. Yeah, Mark was the, yeah, that's what I said. No, I said Mark was the pilot and commander. Scott was pilot for STS 108 and 121. And no, wait, Scott was a pilot on Discovery 103. And this was the third service mission of the Hubble Space Telescope. And then he was commander of STS 118, a 12-day mission, the ISS. In his third space flight, he was a crew member of Expedition 25 and 26. All right. And he was a commander at the International Space Station, so of STS 26. And then Scott was chosen for the year-long mission of the ISS with a Soviet Union compart, so they compatriots. So they took a Soyuz spacecraft to the ISS in March of 2015, and they stayed until the first part of March. They actually stayed 11 months up in space. So a lot of biological experiments NASA's done at the, of course, permission of these twin brothers to do controlled tests, particularly when Scott was up on space for 11 months up there. And what they come up with, though most Kelly's biological changes returned to baseline levels after returning to Earth, 7% of his genes point to possible long-term changes. In other words, he come back with genes different than his brother when they were like identical. So Scott wrote a book, Endurance. All right, A Year in Space, about the ordeal there. So very popular book up there. I met Mark when he was inducted into the Astronaut Hall of Fame a couple years ago, as did you, Chris Calley. And Scott's on the left, Doug Forrest says. Okay, Scott is on the left there. Yeah, I thought Scott usually rocked a mustache there. So, and Celentano says he met Mark before he was a senator, gave a distinguished lecture at my alma mater and former workplace. So, not sure where those are, Tom, your alma mater. I think he's up in Connecticut, so it could be up there somewhere. So happy 61st birthday to these guys. Certainly have done a lot. And Mark Kelly serving as the senator from Arizona there's his picture of his senator picture of him there. Hope he's promoting space and Artemis and all good things on there. So Dave Stange says it's a very good book. And so let's go to what Doug Forrest shared us to have a happy ending here on Stay Curious today on this Friday, February 21st. This is the outside recently of the California Science Center in Los Angeles. They have refurbished this whole part of this museum to accommodate the Endeavour space shuttle being shown as if it was on the launch pad. For many years, it was on its landing gear there, and I never saw it there, but this is what it's going to look like in the end. And it's still wrapped in the plastic, so nothing's degraded during the construction while it's outside. The SRBs was a big deal to put in place. This is actual hardware, a true SRBs and a true external tank, and they're going to be all rigged out. And here's an aerial looking down on the cover that was put over it. That's a pre-cover shot there. All right, and they're covering it up. And just, you got Los Angeles in the background, the mountains, Santa Ana Mountains, I guess it is. I look at these brave people up there on the scaffolds and stuff scurrying around in there. Tom Celentano said he was the Owls, the Southern Connecticut State University Owls. So that's a gorgeous shot there. Boy, there's going to be a lot of drone shots of that when that's finished there with Los Angeles in the backdrop. And this is taking shape inside. Beautiful concept there. Again, Endeavour, let me consult the scroll here. Endeavour OV tail number, orbital vehicle 105, had 173 crew people on it. Its time in space was 299 days. All right. Of course, the most in space is Discovery, 365 days, and 307 for Atlantis. It had 25 flights. Okay, was just rocking and rolling when it had to be grounded. Its first flight was STS-49 in 1999. All right, as you see this grid work going up here. Thank you for the pictures, Doug Forrest. I asked him if what an update, and he responded immediately. I said, give me a drive-by shot of what it looks like going on from the neighborhood. Doug lives in the Pasadena area, I believe, there. And wow, I didn't know they had a Black Hawk outside there. That is way cool. I love seeing these. I've seen one at the Cosmosphere and the one at the Smithsonian. And that's got to be some maintenance on that to keep that thing from not deteriorating, you would think, if it is the real deal there. And yes, Marty, go ahead.
Rich Rothman's asking, didn't Scott have a vision issue following his year-long flight?
You know, Mitch, I believe we've read about that. A lot of astronauts have vision problems coming back from space. That is something that I've read about. Without gravity, the eyeball changes shape, and sometimes they got to wear readers like I'm wearing right now to see things. But yes, not all of them does their vision go back to the way it was when it left space. I don't have a percentage. I'm going to say 20% I've heard out there. It's a very, there's a lot of things that we don't know. I've also heard some concern about Parkinson's disease, okay? And also some concern about kidney failure and kidney renal degradation of all that going on in some of our more experienced space travelers. But that's the only way we're going to learn and know how, is to keep pushing the envelope on that. So, yeah, Marty.
Steve Holcomb is stating that the plane is an A-12 trainer.
Steve Jacobs has corrected me, Marty. Oh,
Looks
my
like
gosh. I'm just bumfuzzled. Of course, I believe you, buddy. An A-12 trainer, huh? What looks awful lot like a Black Hawk. But that's an awesome looking space airship, whatever you have there. Black Hawk is an A-12. Okay. It's the one that is the trainer. It has 2 cockpits. Okay. All right. Well, see, I'm not an aviation buff like you guys are. So I thought the Black Hawk had an F number to it. So A-12 trainer, I see it there. See the 2 cockpits, the one behind there? Wow, that's cool. Didn't even know there was such a thing on there. Thank you guys, Steve and Doug, for straightening me out. And Steve, Marty, you want to say something to Steve?
Yeah, Steve, I got the poster that you sent me, and I sure do appreciate it. I'm going to get that mounted, and I'm going to probably display it in the museum somewhere, maybe in the studio itself. Thank you very much.
Yep. Well, we'll display that. We'll tease everybody, and when Marty gets it mounted, we'll show it. That is pretty cool, Steve. Very, very good. And we'll reveal that when Marty I didn't want to roll it out and have a chance of crinkling it or something like that. But it's very apropos to what Marty did in the 1960s there. So.
Yeah, I worked on every one of those lunar modules, with the exception of LEM-9.
It's a poster of the lunar modules.
Well, I guess I gave it away.
You gave it away. Yeah, I think so I might as well give it away. But it's beautiful. And we're going to check an accuracy thing on it there. That's it, Dean Babcock, SR71. All right, that's right. That's what I know, SR71, because I'm a novice on there. And so, of course, Steve says you're more than welcome there. And I'm not even jealous because he sent me so much cool stuff. I'm drinking coffee every morning from a gold leaf NASA mug, thanks to you, Steve. Can't put it in the microwave, but I'm still drinking from it every day. And there's a parting shot of the outside there. Can't wait to go there. I was showing Anita Truex, our office manager, these pictures, and she was going, we need to go on a road trip. And I go, yes, we do, for about a month, and go out there and then go I-10 to the Cosmosphere. I mean, go to Kansas, go to Oklahoma City Museum, go to Stafford Museum. All good stuff on there. This is what it's going to look like, folks, once they get it done. The concept photo here. Michael Bruno, thank you for watching today. Mr. Callie, thank you. Hope you have a good weekend. Carlton Bailey, Yippee Kaye. Tommy Usiak, my fingers are crossed, Tom. We have a good memorabilia show. We've done all we can do. Doug Forrest, Tom Celentano, Dean Babcock, Mitch Rothman at Man Space, Steve Jokums, and Dave Stange. I missed you yesterday, Dave. Maybe you were on there and we just didn't chime in. But concept here is you're going to be able to go up on the left-hand side on an elevator and look at different levels right into the windows and stuff. At the very top, it looks like they have one of those glass floor situations up there, Marty. Not too sure I'm going to be comfortable doing that. But go ahead, Marty.
Dean Babcock is asking, is the Science Center near the LA Coliseum?
Yeah, Doug. Is the Science Center near the LA Coliseum? And he'll chime in on that and let you know there. But that's definitely, I haven't been out the West Coast in 30 years. So once I go out there, there's all kinds of things I want to see or re-see that I hadn't. I went to college out at University of Arizona in the 70s. Anyway, thank you all for watching today. Let's see, did I have any other shots there? We got, just reminding everybody that we're thankful for you wanting to stay curious with us. And Steve Jokums knows that it's near the LA Coliseum. So see, Dean wants to see a basketball game or something going on there, maybe a car show at the same time. So that'll be exciting. By the way, this is going to be finished. The building construction's finished this summer, and but it's going to take them a year to put in all the interior stuff. And so we're probably looking at sometime in late 2026 or early 2027, they say, when this reality will be real. So thank you all for letting me share that. Thank you, Doug Forrest, for helping us catch up with that. And we've completed another week of Stay Curious, and so glad that you all are with us to learn, to share, and become part of our family here at the American Space Museum. So I've got 3 guests lined up next week. Okay, we're going to have Bob Granath back. Bob's going to do a show on Max Faget, the great spacecraft designer of Mercury, Gemini, and a lot to do with the shuttle. Max Faget is going to be featured by Bob Granath. And Thursday, I told Terry White to come and lay some wisdom on us. And I forget who I booked for Wednesday, Marty. So I think I got a guest for Wednesday too. So we'll rack that up in form of
You got Mikey.
Mikey. Yeah, Mikey Haddad's Wednesday. Thank you, Mikey Haddad. Gosh, how could I forget Mikey? He's got Scott Vongen and another level 4 engineer. They're going to lay some great knowledge on you about their payloads that they put into orbit on the space shuttle. So Bob Granath Tuesday, Mikey Haddad Wednesday, and the one and only Terry White Thursday to help you stay curious next week. So till next time, I'm Mark Marquette, thanking Marty Winkle for a great show, and despite us having our own little issues here, but that's why we do this and have fun. But thank you, Marty. You've done a great job, and we're approaching our 5th year doing this together, folks. So we're very blessed. So until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you at our Space Memorabilia Show tomorrow. to bridge the space between us.